business of this city. We give you the praise because it is due your name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, all right, I'll put it up. Okay. Hey, Council, I need a motion on the work session minutes for the 5th of April.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Need a motion for the regular meeting, minutes on the regular meeting on the 5th of April.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay, Ship, you got a message this afternoon? Mr.
I do not, but we have a financial report.
Do you?
I did want to tell you the mayor is in Miami, and
That's
he is looking at municipal funding and this new technology that Clay McInnes is so familiar with, the crypto technology. So we're excited to hear about that when he returns. And Betty has a financial
I know our
report.
finance director ready to get into the new financing program here.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm going to be presenting to you a snapshot of what the city's financial position is projected to look like at the end of this fiscal year based on March 31st data. Please be reminded that the comparison of budget to actual revenue and expenditures is only a projection based on the data that is currently available. As we get closer and closer to the end of the fiscal year, the numbers will be pretty close to what has been projected for the closing of the year at September 30th, 2022. After the next few months, I anticipate we will have posted at least 1/3 of what we call seasonal revenue. Also, business licenses and ad valorem revenue should be nearly 98% collected at that time. So if you can see the numbers that have been put on the screen by Mr. Mann, I'm going to just kind of mention to you a few of the things that you're looking at up there. The budget to actual projection of revenue on the screen reflects nearly $3.4 million over budget at fiscal year end, which is primarily due to how sales and use taxes have trended during the first 6 months of the current fiscal year. Year over year, sales and use taxes are trending slightly more than 8% above the previous year, as you all saw during the last council meeting on the slides that were presented at that time by the mayor. Expenditures in the current year, budget to actual, are projected to be slightly less than break even based on our current data. Since total revenue is trending more than 7.5% higher than the same time in fiscal year 2021, and expenditures projected to be slightly less than budget for departmental and non-departmental expenditures, it is projected that the city will be able to add a minimum of $2 to $2.5 million to fund balance of what we call our reserve. Although the addition to the city's reserve is projected to be much less than it was in FY 2021, which was near the tune of $13.3 million that was added at the end of September 30th, 2021, the $2 to $2.5 million still exceeds the amount of $1 million that the city has committed to adding to its general its fund balance each fiscal year. The amount projected to be added at the end of the current year still aids in the administration's goal of getting the city's reserves closer to 20% of the general fund budget. Financially, the city of Montgomery is in a much better place than it was expected to be at the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. Overall, the city of Montgomery is in a much better position financially than it has been for several years. And that concludes the report on the city's financial position at this time.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I did have one announcement. The mayor had asked me to let y'all know that David Card has been offered and has accepted the full-time position as Director of Parks and Recreation.
Very good.
Very
Very good.
good.
Thank you. That's great. Great.
Can we get a briefing?
Congratulations, David.
Where is he? He's not out yet.
You
Okay,
over
is Lisa Perkins here? Ms. Graham, Lisa Perkins? She's not here? Okay. Advertiser representative here from that Montgomery Advertiser and our community heroes. Somebody here for the community heroes?
Ain't that neat? I got a check for him. I was gonna turn it back in.
Hi there, my name is Hadley Hitson. I am the Black Belt reporter with the Montgomery Advertiser, and I was able to write our profile about our community hero, Nick Rankin. So a few words about Nick. He moved to Montgomery in 2001 to attend Alabama State University, and since then he has dedicated countless hours to making this community the best it can be. In addition to his volunteering with the Boys and Girls Club and his work covering and caring for the Nixon Times Community Garden, Nick started his own nonprofit, Young Men on a Mission, to mentor young men in Montgomery. He has successfully seen at least 40 young men graduate from his program and go on to college or to enter the military. For his great work and impact on the Montgomery area, the Montgomery Advertiser honors him as our community hero.
First to the council and everybody else, the mayor's not here, but first of all, thank you guys for all of your support, that you support what we do in the community with these young men, because without the support of you guys and the community, we wouldn't be able to make things happen. So I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
That's right. Does he not have a plaque?
You want to have a picture of this? Let's have a picture, okay? Walk where you picture. Come and stand aside. We always do that.
Hey, I'll forward you an email. I'm sending you an email now.
Gavin King. What's up, sir? How you doing? Oh, yeah, I cut this morning. It went way out there?
Everybody look at the camera.
Which camera? Hold on. Don't tell Rondé that.
Uno, do it straight.
Thank you, guys. Congrats.
Always campaign.
All right, special committee reports.
Mr. President, we've had a couple of committee meetings on the panhandling issue, and through those meetings, Mr. President, an idea has surfaced to have almost a public-private partnership about panhandling in the city of Montgomery. And in going through this process, I thought of one person that could, I think, be of great help to the city on this issue, and that's Burton Crenshaw with Central Alabama Community Foundation. And what I asked her to do today is to come and walk you guys through the resolution and the talking points that you've got, that what we have come up with, that we actually voted out of committee today, walk you through her process and what she does and how Burton's going to fix the city of all the panhandling. No, I'm just kidding, Burton. But I think this is going to be a tremendous help. As you guys know, I think there is a difference between panhandlers and homeless people. And through this process, I think Burton, with her help in reaching the nonprofits that know to go out and how to find, listen, and I told them today, when we started this process, maybe I was blind, but I thought we were going to go rent a couple of apartments and get some people some jobs. And I totally wrong. There's mental illness, there's alcohol and drug addiction that have to be addressed. And through this process, Mr. President, I think we're going to be able to address some of these concerns. And I actually think we're going to be able to make some sort of progress and help some people that need to be helped along the way. So Burton, would you come up and just sort of walk us through what we've been doing and the process and what all's been going on.
Certainly. Many of y'all are familiar with the Central Alabama Community Foundation. What we do is we help facilitate giving through us back into our community. We want to work with everybody to meet the needs of the citizens that we have. And this is a perfect example. This campaign will address those needs of panhandling that we all see. We've all had issues with. Some of you, I'm sure, have been receiving phone calls about it. But where we are with this is we want to approach it with, we all see the problems, we all see everything, but we are also part of the problem. Because anybody that donates to one of these panhandlers is actually enabling them. So we have come up with a slogan that it is, don't enable panhandling, give smart Montgomery. And what it will do, there will be billboards and signs and posters that will be available for any business that would like to have them to be put up around town. And you'll see there will be a text code. What this intent is that we will collect money, instead of giving it to the panhandlers, text it, give it through the community foundation, and what we will do is then give it to nonprofits in our area that are meeting the needs of these individuals, be it homelessness, be it mental illness, mental health, or substance abuse, and sometimes it's all of those. It's not just one usually. Unfortunately, there have been some safety concerns that we've all experienced when it comes to these panhandlers of stepping out into traffic. It's my understanding there have been a few that have been struck by cars, some that have been fatalities. And so it's not just about us sitting at a red light feeling threatened by one of them knocking on our window, but we need to look out for their safety as well. And so if they are mentally ill or have drug addictions, we need to get them some help. And this way we'll be able to, because if we are handing them money out the door, they're most likely going and buying more drugs, or they're doing something that's enabling their problem. And this way we can help them get the help they need. And so this campaign, these are just some of the talking points. This is a very rough draft of it, but it shows you where we as the Community Foundation, this is what we do. We want to help find those nonprofits that are meeting these needs. Sometimes these nonprofits don't have the extra resources to go out and find these individuals and encourage them to come in. Sometimes these individuals are not ready for that treatment or that help. But if we stop enabling them at the corners and their revenue sources are no longer there, if those individuals really need help, then they will accept that help that these nonprofits can give them. Sometimes these individuals are not there because of any of these three areas. They may be there because they are just wanting to stand there as their job to make money. And if we stop enabling them on those corners, they'll leave. They'll go somewhere else. And so they will go away. Will this be a quick fix? No, this will not. This will take time, and it will take all of us. And that's what we at the Community Foundation, it's in our name, community. That's what we want to do. We need everybody in the community to come together with this, both individuals, businesses, city government, county government. Everybody needs to take this on as we are part of the enabling, and we need to help stop it. And so we need to be smarter about it. And this is just one way that we can do that, by starting this campaign. Hopefully, we will have all these up and running in the next week or two. But we need the revenue sources coming in that we can give back to these nonprofits. Because if we can give these nonprofits more money, they can serve more of these clients. They can do more with this money. It is amazing what nonprofits we have in this city. And it's amazing what they do, and it's amazing what they can do for the little amount of money they already get. So let's give them more so they can do more, so they can serve more clients. And these will advertise to anybody, even just traveling through our city, that we know these people are on our corners. And so let's all be a part of helping them. We can't say all of that on a billboard, but when this is live, you text that code, it will tell you all of that. There will be QR codes as well. Can't put those on a billboard, that wouldn't be safe. But there will be some on posters or some yard signs. And we are happy to get anybody, any of those yard signs or posters if they want them. So all they have to do is contact me at the Community Foundation. But we really need your support in helping spread this message and helping raise these funds to come through us to get back to serve these individuals rather than just handing it to them on a corner. So we all need to be a part of stop enabling these panhandlers. And so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Councilor, got any questions?
Mr.
Burton,
Mr. Pruitt, and I sent you.
I just wanted, Burton, can you share a little bit about the Community Foundation? What you guys,
Yeah.
what you guys do and how the process will be for, whoever's nonprofit that want to be involved, what they had to do?
Yeah, we will have an application process where nonprofits will apply to us. They will explain to us exactly how they will use the money, and they will talk about how they expect it to address this problem. What outcomes or what the current situation is, and what outcomes they expect by putting this program into place or increasing what they're already doing. And then we monitor that. They have to report back to us. Anytime we grant money to a nonprofit, they have to then give us a report as to how they spent the money and what they accomplished with that money. And so we are able to track it. So if anybody wants to know, this is for everybody to know. We are not hiding anything. We will announce who's getting the money. We will announce what it's going for. We will announce how much they're getting. None of that is secret or private or anything. It is out there for anybody to see and know. And we've been around a little over 34 years, so we've been doing this for a while. We already have several grant processes that we pay out throughout the year to nonprofits in this area. So a lot of them are familiar with us already. They're familiar with our process. They know what information they have to provide. But we're also looking for anybody else out there that maybe has never applied to us for money. We'd love to get to know some of these nonprofits that are doing work, but that we've never been able to fund prior to this. Just like when we did the COVID Relief Fund, we learned of a lot of groups that we didn't know about, and we want to learn of more that are meeting these needs of these individuals as well.
Mr. President, Councilor Pruitt, thank you, Burton, for coming up. I did want to make mention that, since we have Ms. Crenshaw in front of us, we have so many nonprofits that come to us every day, and I would like to ask that the council think about utilizing this organization to vet for check and balances for these nonprofits that request funding from us, so that we know that this funding is utilized like it should be. This is public funding, and it should be used for the community and not for personal uses and not for salaries. So I would love if we think about that again as a council.
We did that several years ago, Ms. Johnson.
Yeah. I have a question about this, though. How long of a campaign before we bring it back to kind of see how's it going? Do we have a set amount of time we want to just invest to see what how it go, or?
We hope to start pushing money out once we have some money to be able to give to nonprofits, it usually takes about 3 weeks to allow them to formulate their application and answer all the questions to give them enough time. So then it takes us about 2 weeks to review those and vet them all, and then we'll push them out, the money out as quickly. So I would see at 6 weeks to 2 months, 8 weeks, being able to get money back out into the community once we've got some money to give out. So it will take, city council money.
That's-
It will take
I'm
city money.
gonna ask that, Burton. I'm gonna beg and plead for that
Well,
here in just a few
well, and I was
minutes.
saying even to just see the impact on the street on the corners. So are we talking about maybe 6 months we should start seeing the impact?
You would
this
think,
campaign?
I don't
You
know.
know, unfortunately, I am not one of these nonprofits that's the feet on the ground doing that work, so I can't really answer for them, but, I would hope that they could provide some of that answer for you, and I'm happy to talk to some and get back to you.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pruitt, and I sent you this email, Miss Lydia Pickett with the, Montgomery area is homeless, and she's here today, and I don't know if she's still in the
She
in
was
the room.
sitting right next to me.
Okay, and she wants to work with that, so she probably be one of those nonprofit kind of guide those
Exactly.
things for us too. So
Yeah.
she want to
I-
work with your.
I told her I hope she'll apply for the money.
Thank you.
Hey, and Ms. Graham, I think this process, and Burton and I talked to Marche about it, if y'all want to be a part of, looking at the applications, who gets the money, and then whatever money we give tonight, I think the county's going to help. Once this starts, we're going to help. I mentioned the CHIP today. Would the mayor be willing to match what the council did, in getting this process started? Because this is a Montgomery issue. Ron Simmons was present today from the chamber. It's killing our tourism. It's not a good look for the city. We've had real estate people, and there's also people out there that need help, which I think that's, at the end of the day, the big thing. I think we're going to be able to. So what we can do is, once Burton gets this thing kicked off, the money to the people that needs to be given to that can help, we sit down with those people and say, look, what are y'all thinking? Where are we at? What are y'all going to do? And we just hear it from them. Not interviewing them, but just tell us, how are y'all going to be able to make this change?
And we can provide that feedback to you that we get from them as well.
Okay? Anybody else? All right. You got a
Thank you.
resolution
Thank
from
you.
us here?
Ready for the resolution?
Okay. Mr. Pruitt?
Mr. President, y'all have got before you a resolution. Ms. Blaylock, can you read the resolution, please, ma'am?
Resolution supporting the panhandling campaign.
Okay. Need a motion to suspend the rules?
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is
We're off and
adopted.
going. Great. Okay. Next, first item, Madam Clerk.
Mr. President, item 1, ordinance amending Chapter 4 of the Code of Ordinances regarding animal control.
Stephen Tiers wanted to speak on this. Stephen, you here? All right.
Just walk out.
Yeah, he just walked.
He walked out. He's wet his whistle.
He's prepping himself.
Okay. Yeah, come forward, Stephen. Stephen's the head of our Humane Society. Humane Shelter.
Hello.
Hi, Stephen.
So you just want me to get into a general overview of what we're trying to do?
Yes.
Okay. For a few weeks now, we've been working together to try to figure out a way to make Montgomery a little bit better place for pets and people alike. One of the biggest struggles Humane Society has is, and animal control. First thing is when we pick up a dog, who does it belong to? It's very challenging. A very small percentage of dogs that are picked up as strays are claimed, which is a huge financial strain. So it's not uncommon for other municipalities to have a mandatory microchipping ordinance to where dogs and cats are implanted with microchips, so when animal control officers are able to capture them as stray, all of our officers currently carry microchip scanners. We're able to find the owners and return them to the owners. Our goal would be with this ordinance is we've already established several grant funds to help lower income families, to not impact them, but we have vets that'll work with us to do, much like the old rabies clinics, we'll do microchip clinics just in the lower income areas and help them get their animals microchipped. Another area that we struggle is unwanted litters. We are currently just getting bombarded with litter after litter after litter after litter. Many times, farming animals is, not a new thing, but the number of unwanted after the ones that are sold that we get is astronomical. I mean, it is. You think the average dog has 6 to 10 pups? We get about, and when we hit puppy season, 10 or 12 litters a day. There's only so much cage space. Oftentimes they're unweaned, they're sick, parvo's introduced. So the council in the years past has talked about having a licensing, spayed or neutered license, and then significantly reduced if they're fixed, and then a little higher if they're not. What we had talked about was having a special permit to breed, and that would be inspected by the animal control officers just based off the current state and city ordinances. And then they would come down and get a special permit and a business license to do said breeding. And that's the major changes that I think that we had within the ordinances. We did have to go back a few times and make a few changes to eliminate some different businesses. So for example, all veterinary offices are inspected by the state vet board. There's absolutely no reason for the animal control officer to inspect them. There's storefront retail spots that have already got a business license, so we had to remove them. And I think that's about everything. I mean,
Right.
The idea, again, is to make Montgomery just a little bit better place. We did address the chaining of dogs. I don't know how many of you have witnessed, but we, on a regular basis, are pulling 60 and 80-pound logging chains off of dogs. So a lot of other cities have gone to no tethering. I think that is, at this point, a horrible idea. I think it targets certain communities because not everybody can afford a fence, a privacy fence, a chain link fence. And even if you can, in my lifetime, I've had dogs that will go over said fence or under it in a quick hurry. So we've revamped it. I think we pulled again, we didn't reinvent the wheel, we just pulled out other ordinances to establish on how and when you can tether a dog and how, basically how to do it. Inclement weather comes into play, the age of the dog, how you do it. You can't use choke chains or pinch collars. Just giving some direct guidelines to help educate owners, because that's probably how our parents did it, but it's just not how it's done today. So I think it's just clarifies a lot of the ordinances to help animal control, educate, and enforce when necessary.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Tiers. Mr. President, Council, we also looked at other cities, like you mentioned, Michigan, Cleveland, Ohio. We used their best practices to implement this animal ordinance. We had an opportunity to speak with different organizations and businesses when we did some amendments to this animal ordinance, that's why we pushed it back for 2 weeks, so we can make sure that we don't affect operating businesses or any kinds of exhibitions that we may have in the city of Montgomery. So I think that we have identified all of the issues. We will, as this ordinance moves forward, there will be public education. So it won't be anything that will happen overnight and we expect you to just go by these guidelines. We're gonna educate you on this process. As Mr. Tier spoke about, is grants out there, and I'll ask, as a public ask, that each council member think about a location where we can host these microchip clinics. If we can give, in addition to what is happening with the grants that the Humane Society receives, so that we can ensure that our population that is impoverished is still receiving, they still have companion animals. And we want to ensure that they receive all the benefits that anyone else can. And this is something that, again, is best practices throughout the United States. This isn't anything we're making up. As of the last couple of weeks, this has been working, and I think it will work when I came in office, and I know a lot of other council members told me they received these same issues, where this was based off constituents being afraid to get out of their own vehicles at their house because of rogue, vicious animals, mainly dogs, or having feral cat colonies in their communities. So this is to address that. We wanted to ensure that we mention that these are for companion animals. We wanted to ensure that, that we have given some good definitions for livestock, companion animals, and things like this. So all of that will be defined in this updated ordinance. And I think that that's it, Mr. President. Ms. Blaylock, I would like to move for us to make a motion to adopt this ordinance and amend.
To adopt first and then amend. A
Thank you.
substitute, rather.
And substitute.
Yes, ma'am. And you're doing the one that Mr. Nichols sent us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This one. Mr. President, I'd like to move to adopt this ordinance.
Okay, I've got some who
Oh,
want to
got
speak
some
on this.
speakers, okay.
Hang on a minute. Molly Martin wants to speak on this item. You still want to speak? I know you had a chance to talk to Ms. Johnson. Still want to talk to? Yes. Okay.
I'm Molly Martin, and I am a longtime member and the current president of the Montgomery Kennel Club. Over the past 27 years, I've judged hundreds of dog shows all over the United States, and I think you would have to search far and wide to find anyone more committed to animal welfare than I am. I wholly support the intent of this proposed ordinance and nearly all of its text to ensure the welfare of all animals, not just dogs, within the city, but do feel strongly that it contains a number of provisions which are ambiguous or overbroad. Those provisions can be used for harassment by people and organizations such as the Radical Group, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA, who object to any sanctioned exhibitions of dogs and other animals. This would be to the detriment of the animal-owning citizens of the city and to the detriment of the city in general. I'm going to address some of the provisions that I think are ambiguous and overbroad. I was informed just right before the meeting that there had been some changes to what was put out last Friday, and I've asked to see copies of the changes, but have not been able to be furnished with any, except a member of the audience handed me something like 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
And I've scanned it briefly. I noticed two minor changes. There's still several things that concern me about the way this ordinance is written. And I want us to have a good ordinance. I'm in favor of stopping dog fights and things like that. But the ordinance needs to be written so that it is very clear what is allowed, what's not allowed, and not just how that members of the council think it will be enforced. I want us to have a well-written ordinance.
Ms. Martin, the reason we had the head of the animal shelter here to talk to that, but he's the one that enforces it. And I think he's the one that would tell you how it would be enforced, okay?
But you would be subject to, if you're...
He's satisfied it will be fair to all people. Okay.
May I make my comments on the ordinance?
Okay. I got 3 minutes for everybody now. I can't have 20-minute talk, okay? I've got 3 minutes. I'll give you another minute, okay?
All right. In one critical respect, this proposed ordinance is woefully inadequate. And we must keep in mind that this ordinance exposes the city's citizens and others to the possibility of criminal prosecution. Citizens found to have violated this proposed ordinance are, in the words of the ordinance, quote, convicted. Section 4.2D incorporates by reference punishment in accordance with Section 1-6 of this code. If you read Code Section 1-6, you will find that the proposed ordinance also allows, in addition to the monetary fines set forth herein, punishment by imprisonment in the city jail for a period of for a period not exceeding 6 months, or by hard labor for a period not exceeding 6 months, or any combination thereof. Even if a municipal court judge exercises his or her discretion not to impose imprisonment and hard labor and limits to monetary fines the penalty upon a person's conviction for violation of this proposed ordinance, such conviction is permanently on such person's record unless expunged pursuant to some code provision not set forth or referred to in this proposed ordinance, and may prove an obstacle to certain types of employment or volunteer activity, such as driving a church van. Likewise, there's no provision set forth or referred to in this proposed ordinance for appeal to circuit court of a conviction in municipal court. Section 4-5 is titled Cruelty to Animals. There's no doubt for most citizens the most critical provision of this proposed ordinance. However, it is inadequate in its current form.
I think so.
The beginning of Section 4.
Ms. Martin, let me stop you. We got confusion here because you're looking at one thing and we're looking at something else. We've got a red line. You've got a red line copy of things that were proposed, but there's been some modifications to that. I really think we need a final copy to be given to the public.
This is what I printed off the internet from the city website last Friday.
Mr. President, Ms. Blaylock, is that the red line copy?
That's the one that was in the packet.
That's the red line
Is
copy.
that the red line?
So that is it. That is it. And just to be very clear, this ordinance isn't something that we just created. This animal ordinance has already been in place. It hasn't been updated in 13 years. So
I understand that. I was at your meeting, committee meeting in October. And if you don't want to improve it, that's up to the council. But there are just some real problems with the way it's written, and it could be easily challenged in court if anybody wanted to do that.
We've had legal opinions, and we do appreciate your concerns and comments, and we've taken all of the concerns and comments into consideration with the amended copy, because it was about a lot of organizations that it would have possibly affected, and it probably had already affected, but it probably wasn't enforced, give or take. But either way, we have done.
Well, don't we want to have an ordinance that we can enforce, that is written so that it's, you don't want to just ignore parts of it?
No, we haven't, and we definitely, I believe we have a solid ordinance, council, that we can enforce with different organizations that deal with this and ensure that it doesn't affect organizations or exhibitions or games that happen in our city that can still go. I believe that this is a solid
But the way this is written.
Yeah, we've had, she was in it.
There's no right to an appeal set out in the ordinance. That's a civil procedure matter. You go to court, you lose, you can appeal. In a district court or small claims court, judgment can be appealed to circuit court, just like a municipal court can. Now, what the next?
This is my husband,
Mr.
William
Chairman.
Martin.
All right, Mr. William, you there?
May I have 3 minutes as well? I
Yes,
thank you
sir.
for your
Yes, sir.
courtesy.
You have three.
Our objective is simply to make sure we have the best enforceable ordinance possible. This is a criminal statute. It is not a civil statute. Rules governing civil cases have nothing to do with this case. There's no recognition in this statute of any right to appeal to circuit court. This is a serious statute. When you have a statute that by reference includes a provision allowing a citizen to be imprisoned in city jail for up to 6 months, to be put to hard labor for up to 6 months, in addition to be fined substantial amounts, that's a serious thing that you're asking the citizens of Montgomery to live under. So I would hope that...
Stacy, can we have your legal opinion?
Municipal judgments are appealable to circuit court.
I'm sorry, I don't hear well. I have hearing aids, but...
Yeah, we got lawyers here.
Brandon, go and explain.
Yeah.
If there's a municipal court conviction, they do have a right to appeal to circuit court and ask for a jury trial. So if they're convicted of a criminal matter in municipal court, they can appeal to circuit court.
Could we have a reference to that in this ordinance so that it would be clear?
It's
that
in
appeal?
state law.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Where you remark, may I address a couple of points if you give me the courtesy? We've
Okay.
spent a lot
Go
of
ahead.
time on this. Molly's whole life for the last 30 years has been devoted to animals, and she's done a lot of work to help people in the city of Montgomery. Where did you finish? Yeah. This,
They look at it so much, it's not...
this ordinance, if you read it carefully, has no prohibition for the torture of a cat. It has no prohibition for letting your horse in your pasture or your starve to death. That's an oversight.
That's a state
That's a
veterinarian.
sta-
State veterinarian takes care of the
So,
horses. State veterinarian takes care of that. That's not a city ordinance.
yeah.
State veterinarian takes care of it.
And just for your understanding, this is a city ordinance, so there's state law in conjunction with this that we do not override as a municipality.
What about cats? Why, does state law not cover dogs? Why is this statute focused only on dogs? I know that there's a problem in parts of the city for people who are mistreating animals and training animals to fight, but it looks to me like in some places you talk about dogs under animal cruelty, but in other places this ordinance talks about all animals. So if state law applies to animals other than dogs, why are we talking about all animals in multiple places here?
Okay.
One concern that we have is the dog shows at Garrett Coliseum.
We got that taken care of.
I haven't seen, Mr. Chairman, anything in the revised ordinance.
Well, we've already talked to people about that.
Yeah,
It's taken
well,
care of
I
in the
look
ordinance.
forward to seeing that in the,
Okay,
in
it's
the
it's
ordinance.
taken care of.
But,
Cats is mentioned at the top line page.
it's what, yeah. Well, one problem is we only got a copy of it about 10 minutes ago, so we're at a disadvantage of having to comment on what we were able to get until 10 minutes ago. So I hope you will take that into consideration. But if you require the people who come to Montgomery to show their dogs at Garrett Coliseum for 3 days in November, if that hadn't been addressed, then you're going to kill off dog shows in Montgomery and horse shows as well. If you think you've also addressed the concerns of the rodeo community, the
We
version
have,
of this...
the Cattlemen's Association's already written off,
Yeah.
they've already accepted it.
I've
The
not
Alpha's
seen any-
accepted it. All
I
those
haven't-
people accepted. I assure you they've accepted it, okay?
Well,
But I
I
want to
think-
make sure they did. We don't want to lose rodeo, nor the horse, nor the dog shows, okay?
Yeah, I think it's clear the ordinance,
Doesn't say that in the
All right,
ordinance.
you gonna do that? Carry it over? We're gonna finalize the report, finalize the ordinance, and put it to the public, and then we'll bring it back 2 weeks to vote on it. That's what's gonna happen, okay?
yeah.
Too
Appreciate
confused
it.
the way it is now.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish it, yeah. I
Item
got,
two.
Mr. Williams who wanted to talk, Frederick Williams wanted to talk on the item too. Fred Williams, do you want to talk on it? Well, I got him signed up. You okay? Okay. Mr. Martin's already talked. Charles Lee, I think he's already talked. Anita Rabbit. Anita, you want to talk?
Do you want me to time, Mr. President?
3 minutes on these fine people, okay?
Like my friends here, we are all concerned about the welfare of animals. If you've ever want to see, I've known people that say they would want to come back as one of my dogs because they get human-grade food, the best of everything. And I think everybody that's here tonight is here because we do care about animals, and there is a lot of good stuff in this ordinance that we appreciate. Some of my concerns are from a training perspective. I've trained service dogs for 22 years, and I've more than 500 have been trained, and most of those, 80% of those have been placed into active service for those with disabilities. Some of the language in here makes it so that as a trainer, I would have to get a special permit yearly in order to be a trainer. And I think that, that's something that should be considered because what I do is not for profit. The dogs are actually given to the recipients. It's run by volunteers. I have a network of volunteers that help raise these service dogs, that help train the service dogs. And I think that that would greatly impact knowing that, this trainer has to now have a $150 special permit to train. This person has to have a $150 permit to train. I think it would be appreciated if we take the training out of the special permit aspect of it. I believe in helping those who are part of a disadvantaged group, and that's one of the reasons that I've done service dogs for the past 22 years. So I do think that the special permit aspect needs to be revised as far as training, placing.
We have that, we do, yeah.
Already been done.
What's that?
When you see the final report, I think you'll know what you're working with right now.
Has that
You're
been
working with
changed in the final report too?
A lot of that's gonna be changed, right?
It has some exemptions on there, but if you are not bartering or selling these animals that you're training, that special permit is not pertaining to you with your volunteer services.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But if you have a facility where you're boarding these animals and training them, then you do require a special permit in the city limits in this, as far as this new ordinance.
Okay, no, the facility is usually the host organizations, depends on the nonprofit that we're working with. We have a group in Atlanta, we have several in Florida. So these would be dogs that
Already
are being
licensed
raised in
facilities.
people's homes. And I want to make sure that they're covered, but not needing special permits, and they're going to be going into businesses with the service dogs and not need special permits as a trainer.
Very good, thank you.
I'm not trying to cut in, I just want to, maybe this will help. I
Stephen?
can tell you, and I apologize, but training is vital to have in there because that's going to be one of the things we're going to hear when we arrive on scene to multiple dogs. So either they're going to be training, breeding, I mean, you name it, we're going to hear everything. But what we can do is, as an organization, the Humane Society, so in your situation where you're training dogs for nonprofit and you're giving away, that's for the betterment of the community for pets and people. So I would say that in like situations like this, the Humane Society will pay your licensing fee. If that's part of what you have to do, then we'll just get together, figure out what you're doing, and then we'll pay for that. What is that, $150?
Mm-hmm.
We'll pay it. Because it really is for the betterment, and that's what it's all about, is serving the community better. So we'll partner on that. So all you'll have to do is what everybody else does, but when it comes time to pay, we'll cut you a check to take down to the city to pay for your stuff.
And volunteers that help train?
Well, we'll work all that out. I mean, I don't know exactly the dynamic of it, but I don't think if you're under one organization, if you have volunteers, they shouldn't have to have a license as well, because they're under you, right? You said you had a nonprofit?
No, I don't have a nonprofit. I partner with other nonprofits like Canine Companions for Independence, Canines for Warriors, Top Dog Canine.
Okay.
So they're the nonprofits, but my group here, we have the dogs and we do the training.
Well, it should be fairly easy to figure out.
And those are just, that's just logistics that'll be worked through, right?
Okay. All right. One more person to speak. Frank Dreyfus. Frank Dreyfus want to speak?
Good evening. My name is Frank Dreyfus. I am the show chair of the Montgomery Kennel Club. We have had dog shows in Montgomery since the 1920s. We've started those shows at the Armory, wherever the Armory was in 1920. We have moved into the Coliseum in 1963. We pay the Coliseum for 3 days, actually 4 days, counting the move-in day, at $2,200 a day. We also pay for almost 100 RV spots for 4 nights, and we also pay for parking of over 1,000 vehicles coming in. We bring into the Montgomery area over 1,200 exhibitors. They stay in your hotels, they go to your restaurants and eat. They bring you a lot of revenue into the city. We do not have a record of how much that is, unfortunately. But in our dog show system, we do have it set up where we do meet the breeds, where people, the public, can come in and meet the breeds where they can see the dogs. We have not had any major problems with aggressive dogs, nor have we had any problems with any of our, I'm going to say, exhibitors in the hotel rooms. We are a very important part of the dog community in Montgomery, for we train dogs, and unfortunately there are those that only see the bad side of the canine life. We make a point to show the good side.
And you do.
If there's anything that we could do to help with this, please let us know. We're out, we have good resources.
You really do.
Yeah.
Thank
Do
you.
a good job. You do a real good job out there. Okay. We're going to carry this over, and we will have a finished copy available shortly.
Yeah.
Okay? All right, next item.
Item 2, review of Aura Lounge, 5480 Atlanta Highway.
Mr., who's here? Ed's not here. We can listen to y'all talk about what's going on, okay? Well, Ed's the one that brought this, Ed, and so he's not here. He's restricted health-wise today, so he can't talk. And he's the one you're going to have to talk to to solve. So we need to carry this over to the next meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good.
All right, man.
Item 3, ordinance amending Chapter 6, Article 1, Section 6-4, the Code of Ordinances, business licensees to rent or lease property for sale of alcoholic beverages to unlicensed persons.
Okay, Mr. Calhoun.
Mr. President, this is the ordinance and amending the ordinance that we set forth a couple of months ago, trying to explain the difference of the event centers and explain the difference in the two, where you need a liquor license and when you don't need a liquor license. And basically what it's saying, if you're selling tickets or you're promoting an event at your facility, and you would need to purchase a liquor license through the ABC board. But if you're not, you're renting out for a wedding or a birthday party, based on the ABC board, you don't need a liquor license if you're not selling the alcohol. So if you're giving it away and you're serving it, you don't need it. So we're just clearing that up in our ordinance, and that's what we come back from our legal. So
you need
any questions? Come in.
I got a question, real quick, CC. So, some of them, they'll come and get, their event center, and then they selling tickets and selling alcohol after they get it. Is there a provision that we can,
I think what we're saying, we're making it clear in the ordinance, and I think that's where it's going to come from our revenue department to go out and make those inspections. Once you get your business license, identify what you're going to be doing and how you do it. We can only make the law. We're going to have the enforcement part come from the staff to go out and do those type things. So we have to lean on them to make sure these things are not being done within our community, because that's where the problems came in the beginning.
Right.
So, that's what we was trying to clear it up, and I think we passed the ordinance in the beginning that painted a broad brush that if you had an event center, you can't sell any alcohol, you can't even offer alcohol to your patrons. So most people are in business, they rent these facilities for birthday parties, wedding, and you're saying you have to get an ABC board. When I got clarification from the ABC board, that was not true. So we just wanted to make that clear to the people that's coming out, getting these event centers. If you got an event center that you're promoting it, and I know what the drop fall was, people was getting an event center and basically operating as clubs.
Right.
And so that's what we want to clear up within our community. That's not what we're going to allow. If you're getting a rental hall to rent out, for instance, we have Gateway Park, for years, and people rented that for years and, gave away alcohol. And so that's what we're trying to make clear in the ordinance.
Okay.
And I
Any
can
other
say
questions?
one thing about the ordinance, they're still coming in front of us though. So you will still know
Oh, yeah, it's
those,
still gonna
rental halls will still be coming in front of the council.
Right. You just got rules they gotta go by.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr.
Okay,
President,
need a
with that, I
motion?
move for adoption.
Motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted.
Thank you.
Item 4, resolution granting an application to amend the certificate of incorporation of Montgomery County Community Cooperative District.
Okay, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Any question? This is the cooperative district that's kind of handling the Whitewater project, and the city didn't have one for a while, and it was asked that we put, and we talked about Mr. Martin coming on, and so the cooperative district have set forth the guidelines on how we go about getting an appointment on that board.
Does this obligate us to money?
No,
Okay.
it just obligates us, if we have someone, we have some eyes to help watch our money.
There you go. Okay. I
Thank
need a motion to suspend the rules.
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 5, resolution electing Samuel P. Martin to the Montgomery County Community Cooperative District.
Need a motion.
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Thank you.
Item 6, resolution authorizing Mayor Reed to execute an agreement with ALDOT for grade, drain, base, and pave of new road off Wasden Road to the FedEx Facility and the widening and resurfacing of Wasden Road from the new road to US 31.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Mr.
Move to
President,
suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
all right, let's go FedEx.
Unanimous. Mr. McInnes? Unanimous.
Hey, come back to
Resolution
us, man.
is adopted. Item 7, application for a rental hall event center doing business as T&C Unique Design and Event Center at 2762 Bell Road.
Representative of the event center, please. T&C Unique Design. Need a representative from this, please. Okay.
It's you, Chuck.
Yes, it is.
Hello, how y'all doing? My name is Ms. Wagner.
Okay. What's the purpose of this center, please?
Well, I wanted the opportunity to thank y'all for letting me come here. And I was trying to open up a small venue for like weddings or just small little gatherings that you
Okay.
can have.
You know, we've just passed a new ordinance to oversee this, a new ordinance to oversee event centers, so you need to understand how that works about the liquor part of it, okay?
Yeah, right out.
I've got no problem.
Mr. President,
Yes,
let me mention about that new ordinance. It also in that ordinance talked about the capacity, whether you need sprinkler systems and those things based on 0 to 99 and 99 to 250 or whatever I think I got from that. But that's something kind of address that, so you need, read that so you understand basically what you're getting into. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for council? Need a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Go over your
Abstaining.
business.
Wait just a second.
I'm abstaining.
You're abstaining?
Yes.
It's going to be 7 with 1 abstention.
Okay.
Resolution is adopted.
Go over your business.
Thank you.
Item 8, application for a rental hall event center doing business as Diverge, 20 Bolton Drive.
Representative of the Verge Event Center? Yes, sir, come over. Kings and Queens.
Yes, sir.
That's you.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Your name for the record, sir?
Johnny Means.
Oh, Johnny? Okay. Council, you have a question, Mr. Means?
No, sir, Mr. President.
Need a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand. Yep.
Seven.
Marcy, go.
7. Okay. Mr. Lyons? Unanimous.
Okay.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Abstaining.
You're
Okay,
abstaining.
y'all.
It's going to be 7 with 1 abstention.
Okay. All right, good over your business, sir.
Second.
Yes, sir. Good luck. Thank you.
Item 9, application for a restaurant retail liquor license, doing business as Chuck's Fish at 1057 Woodley Road.
Representative Chuck's Fish? Yes, sir. And
Good evening.
your name for the record, sir?
Chris Eddings.
Okay, Chris. This is a public hearing, and when I speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held, it's brought before the council. Need a motion?
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business, sir.
Thank you very much.
Item 10, application for a restaurant retail liquor license, doing business as Yellowhammer Bistro at 7725 Aberretti Drive.
Representative Yellowhammer Bristow? Yes, sir. Come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening. Your name for the record, sir?
William Poser Sr.
Okay, William. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council.
Mr. Posey, I missed you at the neighborhood meeting the other night. What are your hours of operation for the Yellowhammer?
Open up lunch from 11 to 3, and then we do dinner from 3 to 8.
Is that every night, or is that Monday through Thursday? Friday?
Tuesday through Sunday. Well, Sunday we close 11 to 5 on Sundays.
Good.
So say that one more time. I lost.
Tuesday through Saturdays. Well, actually Tuesday through Fridays we do from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Saturdays we do from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sundays we 11 to 5.
So you close at 8 o'clock every night?
Yes.
Okay.
He's a restaurant.
Yes, I like that, because
I
this
need a
is,
motion
you
to
well
suspend-
know, and I appreciate you going by that neighborhood
Yes, we went
association. Man, it's so close to Billingsley Place, and them
Yes.
good people back in there, so I appreciate you going to meet with them.
Yes, sir.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise.
Oh,
We had a couple of concerns about this particular
sorry, I didn't see you,
taxpayer.
I'm sorry.
Pam is going to give some details of the concerns that we did have.
Okay, it's come to our attention by one of our auditors, that, this particular owner, which is Mr. William, Posey,
This is my son's.
that's your son?
Yeah.
Okay, have you ever had any ownership of, in Club Decoys?
I have, but this is my son's business.
Okay, but you're here speaking on behalf of your son, are you part of this new business?
No, I'm just here on his behalf because he's out of town.
Okay, what about Uptown Bar and Grill?
That wasn't my business.
Was it your son?
No.
Was he ever affiliated with that business?
No.
Were you ever affiliated with
I
that
worked there.
business? Huh?
Worked there.
Okay, did you serve in a management capacity at that particular business?
Yes.
Okay, because we do have some outstanding balances. And we have a payment plan that was signed by either you or your son. That was defaulted upon.
So that, okay. So you signed that, he signed that, huh? Or someone signed, and that's on another property?
Did you execute an agreement, a payment plan with the City of Montgomery's Revenue Department on behalf of Uptown Bar and Grill?
I may have, but I wasn't the owner of that business. I was just managing it
You
for
were
him.
acting agent, you were an acting agent or representative of that business at
I'm
that
sorry?
time? You were an acting agent having ownership,
No, I
you didn't
had
have
no-
any type of ownership interest in the business?
No. Yes.
That particular business at that time?
Yes.
Having authority to, sign a payment agreement on behalf of said owner?
I did that.
Okay, because we do have it with your signature on it.
I didn't say I didn't sign. I just said I wasn't the owner. I just signed for him.
Okay, so you don't know anything about Club Big Boys? Because we have outstanding balances on sales and whiskey.
That was my business. I don't have any, that has nothing to do with his business.
Club Big Boys was your business?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Pruitt, you got something?
Mr. Posey, after talking to, or seeing them, listen, I'm all for your business, but we need to figure this out, especially since something's been signed. I think you need to get with them, I think you need to get with those two ladies, and we need to figure this thing out. Because with what I heard, I mean, that's hard for me to be able to give a license. And I appreciate you going, I'm for you, but we just need to figure this out before I move forward.
So when you want to carry this over?
Please, yes, sir. Can you get with them, Mr. Posey, and y'all
Yes.
figure this thing out?
Yes.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I carried over 2 weeks. Okay.
Item 11, application for a special retail more than 30 days liquor license doing business as Jewelry Inn and Suites Montgomery at 1124 Eastern Boulevard.
Drury Suites, okay.
Good evening, sir. My name is Brian Wall. I'm licensing counsel for Drury Suites.
Okay.
And this is Miss Bell, Martisha Bell. She's
Okay.
the general manager of the hotel.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare public hearing's been held. It's proper with council. Need a motion?
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
Have motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your event.
Item 12, resolution assessing the cost of abatement of unsafe structures on various lots.
Need a motion to suspend the rules on the rest of the agenda.
We need to see if anybody's present to speak on this one.
On number 12,
Yes, sir.
let's see what I got. I
This
got
is the
nobody
one-
signed up for that.
This is the one I have to send notices out on, so we just need to know if anybody's present to address it.
Ask the line of ordinance.
Anybody in the audience wants to speak on this item?
Number 12.
Number 12, I see nobody signed up for it.
Okay?
Okay, number 11, okay, I'm good. Okay. Need a suspension of
Mr. President,
rules?
move to suspend the rules and remain on the agenda.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 13, pursuant to Section 1153V1 Code of Alabama, authorization of demolition of unsafe structures at the listed locations.
Need a motion to adopt.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Item 14, resolution declaring, authorizing, and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. In council, I have put before you contingency funds.
Okay,
These have been approved by the mayor. For District 3, $1,500 to Montgomery Sunrise Foundation for Montgomery Sunrise Rotary Club. $800 to Parks and Recreation for Highland Gardens Community Center. $800 to King Hill CDC. $1,000 to Friends of the Freedom Rides Museum. And for District 8, $2,000 to Hateless Foundation. And Mr. McInnes wants to add $2,000 to Montgomery Corral and $2,000 to That's My Day.
That's my dog.
That's my date.
That's my dog. What did I say?
Not dog, but it was close.
Okay, that's my. Mr. Hill, you okay with those two additions?
Mr.
Mr.
President.
Hill?
yes, sir.
Are we done?
Mr. Hill, are you okay with those two additions?
I'm sorry, I was talking to Stacy. Sorry.
You're representing the mayor. He's the one that has to approve them.
We fine.
We'll override, we'll take care of
They
it.
are vendors. Yes, sir, they are vendors.
Y'all call Chip out.
We know who they are.
You got,
Yeah, you got one?
yeah, I have one. Go ahead.
Ms. Blaylock,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to do $5,000 to the Central Alabama Community Foundation.
Okay.
Man, did you see
Mr.
District 2?
President, Ms. Blaylock,
See District 2?
I want to do one to $600 to Reese Park Neighborhood Association.
$600 to who?
Reese Park Neighborhood Association.
Regency Park. Okay.
Mr. President, I have one.
Okay?
And I want to remind the council, we need assistance with this $2,500 to the YMCA Achievers Program.
Okay.
And we're going to do the other thing as a whole. Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna do it on my own.
Yeah, that would do that right, yeah.
What's up?
All right, we ready? She got to be in her seat.
Okay, I've got District 5, 2,500 to the YMCA Achievers Program. That's the last one I got. Is there anybody else?
I'm good. Anybody else? Okay, that's it.
Need to vote on it.
Brenda said she called it out, but the man said we didn't ask, did anybody want to say anything?
He didn't sign up on the list either.
Mr. President,
Yeah.
move to adopt discretionary funds.
Okay, we'll,
We
Give me the-
We're going to adopt this first. I got it.
motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Okay. All right, that's done.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
if we could we recall item number 14?
Yes. All in favor, of recall on item 14?
What is that?
Raise your
There's a
hand.
resolution. We got some constituents that want to speak to us about item number 14.
Mr. Lyons, we're making 7, unanimous.
All right. Now, we got somebody want to speak on item 14, please come forward. If you want to speak on item 14, come forward, please.
Hey.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
My
Your
name's,
name?
My name's Eldon Prince, and we got a citation, a proposal to fine the residents $150 for nuisance of debris and weeds on fences. Now, the problem with the weeds on the fences is this, a neighbor put up a wooden fence, and weeds have grown on her fence, but it's on her property. So she's, I guess, trying to get somebody to actually make a decision on whose property the weeds and junk vehicles. We got a lot of, we got 2 vehicles there on the property, and they belong to me. They don't belong to my mother. And it's a 2015 Titan and a 95 Lincoln Continental. And I believe my neighbor considered that junk, and it's not junk. So we just wanted to address this because we got a letter.
Sir, what's the address on the property?
3245 Dar Circle.
Are the vehicles running?
What's that?
Are the 2 vehicles running?
Yes, sir.
They're operating. Are they parked on the grass?
Yeah, well, the reason there is they're not moving because we got to get insurance on them. So my license is suspended right now, so that's why they're sitting on the property.
So are the tags, question that I'm just asking, are the tags current?
What's that?
The tags on the vehicles,
Yes.
they're current. So everything is current on the vehicles, they're not parked in the
Except for
grass,
The insurance.
just the insurance.
Yes, sir.
And they're parked in the driveway
Yes, sir.
with the tires pumped up.
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Cart, you guys are familiar with 3245 Doris Circle?
I'm not aware of the property tonight, but be happy to look into anything with the gentleman
Okay.
and resolve it tomorrow.
Okay.
Just call in tomorrow and you'll look into it first. The number's on your paper you got.
Okay.
So, Mr. President,
Okay.
Go ahead,
we need to amend 3245 Doris Circle from the abatement until
No, sir, you need to go ahead and approve it, and then,
y'all work out the details.
He'll work out the details.
Okay,
That's good.
all right, thank
Okay,
you.
very good. Thank you. He'll
Thank
work
you,
out
sir.
for you. Okay? All right, anybody think, anything else?
Well, you're going to have to adopt it again. When you made a motion to reconsider it, you undid
Okay,
the
and then
vote.
motion to adopt.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Okay. All right, now for our communications, non-agenda items.